Hey there, Younger fans. I'm Taylor Strecker, and you are just in time for an inside look at the latest episode of Younger. From my living room to yours, this is your Getting Younger after show. In this episode, Liza saw a surprising side of Quinn, and Maggie's career went bust. Here to get into all of it with me is my special guest, Sutton Foster. Hello, Sutton.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's so good to see you again.
It's so good to see you too. I'm doing good.
Good. And you got your pups there?
Yes, I got I have Mabel and Brody. Brody's sort of, but Mabel always has to be sort of connected. So she's not.
Oh my gosh. I have to say, I miss seeing you guys in person, being able to give you hugs, but I do love getting to be like literally inside your homes with you. So I'll take it.
I know.
Okay.
Mabel's my set dog. Like she was ever since season 1, she came to set. So she's she's so excited, wherever she just wants to be wherever I am. So she's a good pup. She's my good pup.
She's so sweet. Okay, so Sutton, let's dive in. Quinn really revealed a different side of herself in this episode. She helped Caitlin out and she opened up to Liza about her past and her feelings. Who knew she had those? That was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
So, in a show that's so full of nuanced female characters and relationships, what do you think Quinn and her dynamic with Liza brings to the story?
It's so tricky because I do think that Quinn is inherently an unlikable character.
Yes.
I just don't think, and even it's hard to redeem her but I think that it was interesting to see that other side of her, especially, anytime anyone is nice to Liza's daughter, especially, it's like there's a thawing that happens. I don't think that Quinn and Liza are ever going to be besties because that's but I think that Liza begins to understand Quinn. Quinn even says, she's like, I don't even know. She's like, I'm confused by me. She's an enigma. She's like a crazy character. But yeah, that's the scene where the scene at the Vassar event where Quinn is like, you're Maria, I'm the Baroness. No one roots for the Baroness, and you're like, yeah, you're right.
It's true.
And then she's like, but I love him, but I love Charles. And I'm like, okay, but I still don't like you,
I know.
I'm like, okay. But yeah, I do think that is, I think this episode was really important because you also have to understand, why is Charles with Quinn? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. We tend to sometimes forget about that component in the scenario. And
why? So there has to be some type of something that's decent about, she is, this is a very powerful, strong, her first book was Claw, which was about literally just getting everyone out of the way to, get what you want. And so this is but yet now she's trying to turn a new leaf, but I don't know.
I know. You're conflicted. I'm conflicted. We're conflicted together over Quinn.
Totally.
I feel it.
I really do feel like Dawn, the writers really, they're trying to she's nuanced, I don't know. Anyway. And so it was interesting to play because even though I'm as Liza and as Sutton, and I was kind of all right. And then you see that, oh yeah, she'll never, she chose we chose different paths, and I don't know. Yeah. So it's confusing.
Yeah. Quinn is definitely a mind fuck.
Yeah, totally. And Laura plays her brilliantly, and it was interesting to play, and I was so frustrated. That's what makes Younger fun, is that you see Liza losing her mind, and it's you can't. So it's like more, it's more interesting that way. But yeah, it was definitely like, oh, like I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand seeing them together. Really, it was so painful.
So in this episode, we get to see you and Caitlin's dynamic again, which we love, the mother-daughter. And
Yeah.
also, Sutton, you've become a mom during the course of Making Younger. So
Yeah.
has having your own daughter influenced the way that you play Liza against Caitlin?
That's so interesting. I mean, I think it must. That like you'll do anything for your kid. Like, I mean, I would do anything for Emily, and I always sort of knew that. Like, even in the deepest level, like the reason Liza did the lie, went back into like all it was all for her kid, like and to put her through college, to like and for her to, as well, just for her own passion. But yeah, it's like the sacrifices you make for your kid, and I mean, I don't have a college age daughter. I have a 4-year-old, but it's the same thing. But I will say too, like Tessa, who plays Caitlin, we actually had met years ago because we were both in Shrek the musical on Broadway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've never put that together.
Yeah. So she played Fiona. I played Fiona, which is the ogre princess. And there were one of the numbers, when you introduce Fiona, you meet her as a young kid, as a teenager, and as a grown up. And so, cause she's been waiting in this tower for a long time for her prince to come. And the teenage Fiona was Tessa. And so Tessa and I would like hang back. We would sort of be waiting for our entrance at the same time. And we would, there was like, there was a big tower and there was all this fog on the stage, and she was a teenager, and we would sort of like talk and stuff. And I had like a very, dare I say, motherly vibe with her, because I was older, and she would like ask me questions, and we would throw our worries into the fog. So before our number, we'd go, oh, let's throw our worries into the fog. And we would like throw them into the fog. And then when she left the show, she gave me this little like silver cup with like batting it, like, and she had, it was my worry fog, and I have it on my bed. I it's right next to my bed every night. So I throw my worries into the fog. So I already loved her. Like when she like texted me and she was like, I'm going to play your daughter. And I was like, oh my gosh, how fabulous. I already love you, So it wasn't like this major stretch that I had to like, fall in love with her. But she's such a great, she's a grown up now, but I've known her for a really long time. So I have always sort of, I've always felt like a big, if anything, a big sister to her. But
Oh, I love that. I know. When I met her, I tried to set her up with my little brother. She's very magnanimous, right?
Yeah, she's a great person, and she's like grown up. She went to college, and she's like, I've known her since she was like 13. So she's a good kid.
She's awesome. Also in this episode, Kelsey's portrayal on the real estate reality show was not so positive. If you were so inclined and could have a reality show about anything, what would it be? The face.
If I could like be in a reality show?
Like someone said, Sutton, here's a reality show, it is whatever you want it to be.
Oh, it would be about crafting. This is my dream. Okay,
I could tell.
I'm gonna secret some shit out there. Okay, here's my secreting shit out there. I want to be the host of a reality show about crafting in the world. So I want to travel to all over the world and learn about different cultures and what those specific cultures and how they make things.
That is so cool. Wait. My bow just came undone. Speaking of crafting, let me just DIY the situation right here.
I can fix it for you.
Exactly.
That's the reality show that I would be on. So it would be about like learning how to make things with my hands.
I also love, Sutton, how excited you just got. I feel like a lot of times in this industry, you hear reality TV and people are like, ugh, and you were like exploding with joy.
Yeah, like, I think it would be super fun. Either that or like travel or something to do with food. Or even like oh my god, that's I'm so good. Yeah, you're right. I'm a little overly enthusiastic. I think it's the idea of like traveling and either like outdoor adventure or craft. Like I guess it all kind of goes together because it would like food. All of those could go together. Learning about crafting and food and culture and then hiking and like being out in nature.
I will gladly watch it. I can't wait for the premiere. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
right. I feel like it's I just put it out there. Okay.
Sounds like we have a visitor. It's the writer of this episode, Dawn Roos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. And I would watch that show, Sutton. I absolutely would watch that.
Okay, cool. All right, let's make it happen.
So, Dawn, this episode, incredible. We're slowly getting to the end of season 7, the final season of Younger. I'm having a panic attack. I gotta ask you, what's the conversation like in the writer's room around bringing cancel culture into the storyline? You guys are always you have like, I mean, it's almost like you're ahead of the zeitgeist before we even get to it. So, what made you guys want to bring in this cancel culture storyline into the actual show?
When we started way back in, well, it was more than 15 months ago, writing this episode, Darren just came into the room and said, well, I know what we're going to do with Maggie. She's going to get canceled. And I don't know where he came up with that idea, but that was where we started. And we didn't realize it would be, I think it was thought of as 1 or 2 episodes, and it actually takes place over 4 episodes. And we wanted to highlight that and to show that that it happens and it can happen. And Maggie was always a very progressive for her time character, but the times change, and something that once was progressive would be not acceptable now. So that was interesting, that the fact that time is always a theme in our show, aging or youth versus getting older in life, and how things change with time. So it felt thematically right for our show that certain mores which were fine in 1993 are not okay in 2021.
Right. It was very interesting to watch that. I also feel like every season, like I'm actually shocked at how you guys really have your finger on the pulse of what's going on socially in the world around us, given that you guys write it so far in advance. Sutton, has there been anything that really stood out to you that you're like, I can't believe they brought this storyline in and now it's like living itself out in real life?
I mean, every season there's been something. So, I mean, I'll tell you one storyline I'm glad they didn't bring in, which is I'm glad they didn't introduce, you guys were thinking about introducing the pandemic, weren't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad you didn't.
We had that plan for, I would say 2 months after we came back to write again. We were like, okay, in episode 8, there'll be the first touch of the pandemic at the end of that. And then we realized with our show, we couldn't have the tone that we would like to have. Our light, kind of joyful tone. We couldn't make mask jokes when 500,000 people had died. It just didn't fit with us. And Darren really wanted to give the audience a gift of, let's remember the times and let's imagine the times when we were all together and we didn't have to do this thing. So he came in one day and he said, we have to take a vote. I really don't feel we should do the pandemic. And we all voted that we should kind of have this delightful fantasy world that we all once lived in, say December of 2019. And we kept it there for our audience. And just to be able to be true to our tone, because we couldn't be true to our tone and true to the pandemic at the same time.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Yeah, I'm glad too. As a viewer, I feel like a lot of the shows that I watch, yes, it's shocking. I know I watch a couple other shows other than Younger, not many, but just a couple. But they've all really leaned into the pandemic. And while I'm like, okay, I get it, it's of the times. It is, I need my escapism. And so you guys really you stuck true to that. And as an audience member, I was very happy with that decision as well.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
But I didn't realize that it was like this conversation that you guys had. So that's so interesting. I did not know that.
Yes, we had a very long conversation and loud discussions about it. And but finally, we wanted to hold on to the beauty of Younger, which is this light spirit. And even though emotional things happen, and we could not do that. We could not do that as the numbers were mounting, and people in our audience would have suffered real losses, not maybe just of a loved one, but of a job and social interaction. We just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The season was utter perfection. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to start crying. Okay, so Sutton and Dawn, the last time you guys were together, Sutton, you got to ask Dawn a burning question. But this time, Dawn, you get to ask Sutton anything that you might be wondering about. So just one question though. So, but anything you want. Sorry, Sutton. Anything you want. Go.
I really want to know what the difference in bed is between Josh and Charles. And it's not a question I think she can answer.
What a question, Dawn.
I would like to ask Liza, when she's ever with Charles, is she thinking of Josh? And when she was ever with Josh, was she ever thinking of Charles? Or was she able to just be with the one she was with?
Think about this. It's tricky because I'm not Liza, I'm Sutton. So I have to think about okay, what was I doing? No, I think, you know what is really, I will say, and I'm gonna say this, and this is a true credit to you guys writing this, and is that I felt like when I was playing with each actor, with Liza Charles, whether it's Sutton and Peter or Sutton and Nico, I was fully with the people that I was with. And that's really cool. It all felt authentic and real and true, as opposed to, oh, this doesn't feel right. Or, it was both choices felt 100% right. I think that's what made it work, that they were these two viable, that they both made sense. And that's why everyone has picked sides. But I felt that way as an actress, it wasn't I was oh God, I have to do a scene with ... it was woohoo. I fully was, it was super fun to, play with both actors.
Dawn,
is the defining characteristic of Liza Miller is that she is a good person. She's the most polite human being, Liza Miller. She never takes a jab at anybody, never in all of the 7 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Never.
She is the most polite person. And it sounds like faint praise, but that is so rare to create a polite character who is also interesting and fascinating and you want to watch. But she is the most decent human being I've ever written for or seen in a film. And I think that and it comes out of respect and compassion for the other characters in Liza's life. And it rings so true. And that's what was a delight working with Liza Miller on this.
Well, and people were, I was doing some interviews for the premiere, and everyone was asking what I will miss about playing Liza. And it's I got to play a decent, optimistic, hopeful, kind, non-cynical character. And I really loved the universe that she existed in. And it's I didn't have to go to work and be bitter or angry or tear people down or blow something up or backstab someone. It was it was so she's such a generous character. And I've never played a character like her either. So so thank you.
That's how we felt about her. And I don't think you could play that character when you weren't that character yourself, Sutton. That's how we feel. I think it's in there. And that's how we feel about you, the writers in the room. It has been a pleasure to work with a decent human being. And they're very rare. They're very rare.
Well, the facade is coming off now. I'm going to ruin my image. No, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
You guys, Dawn, thank you so much for joining us. That was a very sweet moment. And I will say too, having talked to the writers, the honor of talking to the writers and the cast over the years, top to bottom, and I know, Dawn, we've talked about this before in the podcast. It's like, what everyone says, the show is so special. And then everybody says, well, why? And everyone says, well, Sutton, it's the head. I over and over for years and years. So in case that hasn't been relayed enough, I just wanted to let you know, but that's definitely the case.
I'm glad we'll be able to see more of her on the crafting show. Thank God.
I know, right?
I'm so happy.
All right, goodbye, guys.
Dawn, thank you so much. I was gonna say, Sutton, how much of do you think that there's an intersection between you and Liza?
Oh, I mean, I think we are. I think we're very, very, very similar. I think in our essence, she definitely has way more fashion sense, and she's way more put together than I am. But I know every time I watch an episode, I'm like, wow. I'm like, I had no idea I could look like that. Yeah, she's way more put together. And I do think that there is this thing where the writers begin to write for the people, everyone sort of leans in to one another. And Liza and I think we were on a very parallel path. For me, when I started playing her in 2014, I was kind of going through my own reinvention, starting I had just met my husband. I was, I was working in television. I had been working in theater for so long. I was working in television now. And I was sort of starting my own new chapter, and then becoming a mom. And so in many ways we were sort of on this parallel journey. I'm going to miss it so much. It's just been such a phenomenal experience. And yeah, I'll miss it.
I know. Well, all throughout this final season of Younger, we're looking back at some of the show's most memorable scenes. So tonight we saw things start to thaw between Liza and Quinn when Liza's daughter came into the picture. Let's revisit what happened back in season 4 when Kelsey could not stay mad at Liza about her big lie once she realized what was motivating her. Let's take a look.
What about her dad?
He's not the one you contact when you have a crisis. It's me. It's always been me.
I'm really sorry. I wish there was something I could do.
Oh my God, it's her. Caitlin, hey.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, hi, you okay?
I've been better.
I am so sorry I didn't get your call.
It's okay. Are you coming?
I am on my way, I promise. And honey, just so you know, when it comes to your health, money is not an issue. I am so sorry you had to go through this.
I know. A lot of tears in this final season of Getting Younger. Okay, so what do you remember about shooting that scene?
Oh, I think we were just so relieved to finally not be fighting anymore. Because so much of that season, Hillary and I, was so, it's so silly, but we all get along so well. And so when Kelsey and Liza weren't getting along and we were just constantly at odds, because usually we're it's all good. And then every scene was not good. And so I think we were just relieved to finally get that scene. We're yay, we can be friends again. And so, it was just oh, thank God. I don't have to look over at Hillary looking at me with, such betrayal. So it was, it was just a relief.
So while we're looking back, let's have some fun with the segment we're calling When You Were Younger. I'm going to show you something that you said about Younger several seasons ago, and you're going to let us know if anything's changed since then. Okay, let's take a look at what you and Peter said about preparing for kissing scenes.
Am I wrong? I'm right.
See, now that you know that.
I know that.
That's
I can
that's
watch
actually
you,
a horrible thing to know.
No, it's good because
I should never tell this to people that I have to kiss.
And now I know that
It's
whenever
really
I
gross.
see you
But look,
cleaning.
see? I use all these
nice.
to combat
That is very.
These are, look at all the things that I do to help
That's
combat
funny.
the boogers.
That's funny.
Horrible.
That's funny.
You
Have you ever?
Not too fast. You don't want to crack a tooth.
Have
I've
you
never
ever?
cracked a tooth, but I've banged
Yeah, you
teeth.
bet you have banged
You get
teeth, yeah.
nervous. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
help it.
It's like,
And then the one thing too is that you like kissing somebody or act, doing a love scene. So I always am like, I have forgotten how to.
How to move myself. Totally.
I'm like, I do not know how to touch or kiss or and then I start becoming a bumbling idiot.
And in this case, I also had one kiss
That was
after
it.
2 seasons.
I know.
And you with the Josh kid, you've been.
yeah.
I mean, like they've done everything. I mean, everything. They've done everything. And look at the face. Look at
Sorry.
the face. And I had one.
It was good. That was good.
It was nice.
It was good. It was
It was
worth
good.
the wait.
It was good. It was nice. Wait,
Takes
clean that.
That was really funny.
So Sutton, many kissing scenes later, has anything changed about how you prepare for your on-camera kisses?
No, it's all still fumbly and bumbly. And yes, yeah, it's every time. I'm always, every time I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think because it's, it's weird. Like what we do is weird. We have a theme song on the show where we go, what we do is weird. What we do is weird. Because it's weird. And but how lucky I am to be able to, work with Peter and Nico. And so they make it, I guess it would be, well, like in this season, I had to kiss, surfer dude.
Yes.
I met him. Like I didn't know him, I was like, uh-oh. Here we go. So that's like weirder because it's somebody you don't know and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to just like mac out with you. That's like weird. But like, yeah, every time like with Peter, I guess it's gotten a little bit better, but I still always get like, nervous or fumbly. I kind of turn into a 15-year-old again.
Wait, what's the song? Our jobs are weird.
It's weird. What we do is weird.
Sutton, I can't get enough of you. Thank you so much for joining me. This is so fun. I don't want it to end.
I know, but it's over.
I know. It's like I have a really hard time saying goodbye to you guys each of these episodes because I'm like, we're just getting closer to the end. And I don't want it to stop, but you're just the best. And just thank you for being so wonderful. And you're spectacular. Just thank you for everything.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, Taylor, for everything.
Oh God, please. I am beyond honored to even be like, the fact that my life gets to Venn diagram into you guys is like the highlight of my life. It's been such a treat.
Yay.
It's so
Cool.
true. Sutton, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And you guys, thank you so much for watching along at home. I'm Taylor Strecker, and this is Getting Younger. Join me again right here after next week's episode for more behind-the-scenes stories and insights from the cast. Until then, here's a sneak peek of what's coming.
And the caterpillar emerges from her chrysalis, a beautiful butterfly.
Not now. I've been up since 4 a.m.
What are you doing back there?
Well, I built Darkroom. This whole cancel Maggie Amato business gave me an idea for a new show.
Hey, that's great.
I think it could be, but no gallery wants to rep me now. So I'm showing at the East River Bar, in that side room people go to piss when the bathroom line gets too long.
Well, hey, Charles didn't want to publish one of our incubator authors, so we got her into Vulture. Each week, a new chapter comes out, and people are going crazy for her. I know it's not the same, but...
Even when the bathroom line isn't long, people still go in there to piss and vomit.
Well, you have to show your work, even in a bar that stinks of piss and vomit, because that's what artists do.